What are some of your favorite places that you've hiked?
Oh, Crater Lake is
Gorgeous.
unlike anything that
Yeah.
anyone will ever experience. If you've never been to Crater Lake, that is has to be one of the top bucket list places to go. Um, I wasn't very impressed with Yellowstone as
Okay.
that sounds. It was very touristy. Maybe I went at a bad time of the year, but it was beautiful, but not as impressive as a lot of the places in Oregon. And then in Oregon, I would say a hidden spot that I thought was one of my favorite places to go was it was on the Umpqua River, and they have hot springs up there. So one time, Lauren Linval and I went and we drove, and I think it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours away. And we get there, and this was like April. So we had no anticipation of snow. And we get there, and it's completely snowed off. We had to hike a mile in the snow and then hike up a icy mountain, which was scary and terrifying and honestly a little bit stupid in and of itself. But we got up there and we got to sit in some natural hot springs, which was so cool. So cool. So I recommend that one as well. I have a million places left to go. There were a lot of places in New Zealand that were awesome, but we didn't have as much freedom to sort of hike around. And then I just went to Hawaii in January, and I keep mentioning Lauren Limbaugh. She's like my partner in crime, but she lives in Hawaii. And so I went to visit her, and I stayed with for a week, and we hiked. I can't remember what the mountain is called, but I think it was one of the taller peaks on Oahu, and it was like a 3-hour hike up. It was so muddy and slippery, and when I got up there, it was the most breathtaking view I've ever seen in my life. So that's probably the best one that I've done recently. And
Mhm.
then the way down was really scary because gravity was not my friend, and I slipped and ate it like 4 separate times. But yeah, I've had a lot of hikes, so I don't know if I've done justice to all of the beautiful
Mhm.
ones I've been to in my life. But if there's one place to go for a million different kinds of views, it's Oregon.
Yeah. Crater Lake. Breathtaking.
It's just amazing.
Hmm. Yeah. What is it that you like so much about hiking?
Well, one, I love being in nature. I think that nature is extremely therapeutic and brings you back to earth. If you're ever like in a bad place mentally, it's just really nice to be in nature and sort of realize that there are bigger things than you or what's going on in your world. Um, and then just the different places that different hikes can take you. Like you can go on that hike in Hawaii. It was 3 hours up, right? I went through 4 different kinds of places. There was one that was like a jungle, one that turned into like a deserty kind of area, not deserty, but like very bare and dry, and then you get up into like rainforest territory, and then all of a sudden you're at the top and it's like you're on a beach, but you're elevated 2,000 feet up in the
Hmm.
air. I love just the different environments that hiking can take you. And then ultimately kind of like the first part, I just love the ability to sort of be with yourself but not be bored, and have
Yeah.
time to sort of reflect on what's going on in your world, what's going on around you, and be able to just sort of sit with it in a very peaceful area. So that's my
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
It's like you loosen the grip on life.
Yeah, totally. It's like you reset and you're like, oh gosh, my problems.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I feel like I have to go back to Oregon. I mean, I have a good reason to.
Yeah, right.
Maybe next spring. But one hike would recommend. I mean, there's many hikes, but Norway is incredible. The
Oh,
views of
oh,
the fjords are insane.
I can't.
Insane.
Can't wait to go across the pond. Ireland is number one on my bucket list. Number one, like far and away, Ireland, because that's where all of Game of Thrones was, or a majority of Game of Thrones was filmed. So I really want to go to Western Ireland and be able to hike those cliffs and those just beautiful all green pastures. I just think there's so much to explore over there. I'm
Yeah.
sitting over here saying that Oregon's like the best place in the world. It's probably like not even close to those kinds of places. So Norway, I'm going to add it to the list.
Well, they're all pretty special. And then funny, just connection wise, Lauren Lappin and I worked a camp in Canada. And before going to that camp, I was like talking to the camp director. And one of the places that was on my bucket list was Banff and Jasper.
Mhm.
And I asked him, I was like, hey, do you think it'd be worth like staying like a couple extra days to see these parks? And he was like, Chez, you have to. It is like the number one drive you will ever experience in your life.
Ugh,
And I talked Lauren into staying a couple extra days with me. She had no idea. She did no research on
yeah.
Banff or Jasper, and I'm like, like excited about going. And then we get there, and it's just like kind of a spiritual
Yeah,
feeling that
absolutely.
you have when you're in those spaces. But yeah, the drive through, it's called the ice fields, but Lake Louise we ended up having like the most magical day. Like we get there, we're staying in kind of like this ski town, and then we the sun hadn't quite set yet, but there was fires in North Victoria,
Ugh.
so the town was kind of smoky. And we were like, should we go to Lake Louise? And we're like, fuck it, let's go. So we go, and there's like nobody there. It's super spooky. We're like, are we supposed to be here? And what was spooky about it was the smoke was just kind of like slowly moving across the
Yeah.
top of the
Oh,
water.
that's cool.
And they had like amazing hotel, the Lake Louise Hotel. So we went there and we had some wine and cheese. And there was this woman like playing piano next to the restaurant. And they have these like huge arched windows so you can overlook the lake. It was
Oh
just
my God.
super magical. And then the next day we went, it's completely clear. The water's turquoise. You have
Ah,
like this beautiful picturesque view of the mountain peaks, and it was just so cool.
I'm gonna need
um
you to send me your list.
okay.
Places you've been and places you want to go. I might need to cross compare and make sure mine's
Okay,
good.
I mean, we can set a trip together.
Yeah.
I love hiking, and I love the Pacific Northwest in the
Yeah.
summertime. I've done I'm a little crazy in terms of like I'll go camping by myself. I don't really care. Just go for it. But yeah, definitely if you have a chance to ever work that camp in Canada during the summer, um, Jen Sallings worked that camp too. We were at the same camp. And it was like 3 or 4 hours to Banff from where we were.
Oh,
But
amazing.
wow, incredible. I would do that drive every year if I could. Because it's
Yeah,
just like,
put it on my list.
yeah, it's life giving. So Banff, Jasper. Jasper has a completely different terrain than Banff, more
Uh-huh.
waterfalls.
Sure.
And right in between, there's a glacier that you can actually walk on.
Oh my gosh, I think I've seen pictures of that.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, put that to the list. And then, I mean, there's a ton of different hikes in Norway. You've probably seen a ton of pictures.
Yeah.
But yeah, those two I would recommend.